Hello everyone, this is Gage from DURIN, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another third age Reforged online multiplayer battle replay. This one is of course going to be on the 0.95 test patch. This one is actually a Dwarven Civil War. We have myself commanding the Dwarves of Erebor versus Lengo commanding the Dwarves of Khazad-dûm. And I believe, yeah, Lengo is one of my good friends. I believe I met him on the Reforged Discord, which is full of very good players and very friendly people. So if you have not, for some reason, decided to join the Reforged Discord, I would definitely recommend it. The link to that and, of course, to the official Reforged website will be in the description below. But anyway, we'll go into the army compositions beginning with my own. I should also mention that if you think my formation is a little weird, that is because I actually hit deployment before I had deployed anything. So I just had to deal with what I have right here, but that ended up being fine because the formation is not horrible, and I was going to decide to rush Khazad-dûm anyway. So because I was deciding to rush Khazad-dûm, I do have a ton of AP. Well, technically we both have a lot of AP, mostly because we both know that we're facing heavily armored Dwarven units. So on either flank I've got 2 units of the Axe Guard of Erebor, not bad shock infantry with quite a few men in the unit. We've got 4 to 5 units I believe of Ironfoot warriors, 2 on either flank it looks like. Who have like 8 attack, 18 defense, and they're only 550 florins, so they are definitely not a bad unit to bring. However, just like all dwarves, they are slow, but they are heavily armored. I've also got 2 units of the Dwarven Miners, which is just kind of like a low tier unit. They are AP though, because of their one-handed picks there. I've got 2 units of the Ironfoot crossbows, 1 there and 1 in the front. The one in the back is where my general is. I've got 3 units of the Ironfoot halberds, which are going to be able to stand up to the Khazad Orc Hunters arrows very well because they are, of course, heavily armored, and the AP will serve them very well against the, of course, very armored units of Khazad-dûm. And I think I also have 1 unit, yeah, right here of the Ironfoot Axe Throwers. These guys, oh, these guys are very good. And looking back, I probably should have brought more of them, but you will see this unit do very well. They are, of course, an axe throwing unit that is AP off there. Well, their missiles are AP, and they're not horrible in melee either. And then over here you can see my cavalry. I've got 2 units of the mercenary cavalry, which is a melee cavalry. Not bad. Well, not at all bad at taking out enemy cavalry. However, like a lot of the Dwarven, or of the Erebor units, they do have kind of low morale. That's something that I did notice about Erebor. They do have somewhat low morale, even when the general is still alive. But anyway, so I've got 2 units of them, 1 on either flank, and then I've also got another unit of melee cavalry, which is right here, that being the Ironfoot Hammer Guard. I did not decide to bring any Ironfoot Wargoats, mostly just because they are very expensive and quite slow. These guys are also multiple hit. These Hammer Guard, actually, are multiple hit point melee cavalry, very excellent, and can just take on pretty much any cavalry unit in the game, especially if they're given support of something like the mercenary cavalry. However, they are very slow and very expensive. I believe they're like 1,300 florins, and you can only bring 1 before the price increase. And over here, I've also got 1 unit of the Sons of DURIN, which is a very nice shock infantry, like 1,200 florins, multiple hit points, and AP. So I'm going to have to commit these guys early on and just let them do their work on taking out the heavily armored Dwarven units. And also, something very cool to note about these guys, you can't really see him that well because he's kind of hiding in a bush. You can see right there, Gimli, son of Gloin, is actually the officer for the Sons of DURIN, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, so now we'll go over to Lengo's army. I believe he's got like 3 to 4. Yeah, I think he's got 3 units of Dwarven Miners here on the front line just to kind of absorb my first wave of forces. He's also got his 4th unit of Dwarven Miners back here, which is where his general is, just kind of to free up his elites to go wherever they need to. You can also see right here the texture of these mercenary war chiefs is pretty messed up, but they're like 750 florins. You can bring a couple of them before the price increase. They're just a shock infantry unit with shields on the back, so they can't get skirmished down too easily, but my crossbows are AP, of course, so they're going to be able to do a lot of damage to them anyway. He's also got 2 units of mercenary cavalry and 2 units of mercenary crossbowmen to kind of fend off my own cavalry. On either flank, he's got 1 unit of 3rd Legion infantry being backed up by some 2nd Legion Axe Guard. These guys are definitely better than my own, what are they called? Axe Guard of Erebor, but they are more expensive and have a lot fewer men in the unit. He's got like 4 units of Orc Hunters of Khazad-dûm. These guys are definitely going to be having to target my Ironfoot halberds and stuff like that. However, because of the armor of my halberds, my halberds will stand up to that reasonably well. He probably could also, well, actually, yeah, he would really want to go after my crossbowmen. However, my crossbowmen have like 9 armor and like 4 shield, I think they have like a shield value of 4, so they can stand to skirmish fire very well, which is good because, I mean, if they couldn't, then that means their crossbows would never be able to get in range, and that's like their only ranged unit. Over here you can see, oh, I thought he had 2 units of Axe Guard, I guess, or 2nd Legion Axe Guard, but I guess he only has just two more units of 3rd Legion Infantry over here who have like 12 attack, 22 defense, but they are much more expensive than my own Ironfoot Warriors. And back here he's got a ton of pikes, which I decided to bring the halberds instead of the pikes because the halberds are much cheaper. However, again, looking back, my halberds are going to struggle against this pike line very, very heavily because the pikes are just going to be able to stand there and poke my infantry to death. Not only the halberds, but also my Ironfoot Warriors. You can see he's got, like, I think 3 to 4 units of Sentries of Khazad-dûm. That's the pike unit. Back here, he's also got 1 unit of the Khazad-dûm Reclaimers, which is, of course, an axe throwing unit. And once they are all out of their axes to throw, they actually pull out a 2-handed axe, which means they are not bad in melee. And I believe they are also AP in melee. So without any further ado, we'll go ahead and start the battle off. Again, because I do know that I do have the definite range disadvantage here, just because my crossbows don't have very good range, I am going to try to rush right away. You can see I'm moving forward my troops. I am going to pull my halberds out of formation just while they run, but it is going to show here that, just like usual, all dwarves are pretty slow, so I am going to take quite a lot of arrow fire on this approach. However, once I get in melee, I do think I have the slight numbers advantage, so we'll see how this turns out. I'm also moving some cavalry around the flanks of my army to just protect in case Lango decides to charge some of these mercenary cavalry into my front line. However, the thing is, the Dwarves of Khazad-dûm, of course, actually do not have nearly as much cavalry as even the Dwarves of Erebor can bring. But if he's able to take out my cavalry, these mercenary cavalry in particular will not be able to take out very many of my troops, mostly just because since they are melee cav, they do not have a great charge. Over here you can see my halberds starting to take quite a few losses. Also, you can see he is targeting my Sons of DURIN, but because they do have hit points, they're going to be able to stand up to that very well. Is Gimli dead? I would be sad if he's dead. It looks like he's probably just mixing here somewhere. But anyway, it looks like I might be. Yes, you can see over here that my mercenary cavalry has engaged with his. I've also backing them up with some Ironfoot Hammer Guard. But you can see that both my own mercenary cavalry and a little bit of Lango's is taking a lot of skirmish fire from his Orc Hunters and the mercenary crossbowmen. So I'm going to have to pull my cavalry out of here if I want them to stay alive for any length of time. Pushing my Ironfoot Hammer Guard here into the crossbows. That's going to be a mistake because the few that did manage to get through are going to get cut down. There's also some 3rd Legion infantry here, so this was definitely a big mistake by me right here by not pulling my cavalry back in time. I was able to do a lot of damage to him, but I did take a lot of damage in return. Over here you can see the infantry fight beginning. You can see my Ironfoot Warriors charging into these miners who are not going to be able to stand with this at all, which is why Lango is going to commit his pikes. I've also got my Sons of DURIN here. And over on this flank you can see more warriors, and I've also got some halberds over here about to be committed into the fight as well. I actually am going to be able to charge these mercenary cavalry right here with some Ironfoot Warriors and Axe Guard if he's not careful. Oh, dang it! I was so mad about this because I was so close to getting the charge off, but unfortunately was not able to do so. However, because of this, I am going to be able to kind of flank around this edge right here of Lango's forces. My halberds and warriors are going to be able to cut their way through these miners, but right after that, they're going to have to face these these Sentries of Khazad-dûm, who this is definitely the fight that they're going to excel at. They're going to do a great deal of damage to my troops. Definitely not very quickly, but it is going to just slowly cut down my forces. See my Axe Guard of Erebor going to be committed here against these 3rd Legion infantry, and my Ironfoot Warriors still chasing after this mercenary cavalry, and they're not going to be able to catch him for very long. The mercenary cavalry will be able to run out in time after taking a few losses, it seems. But the thing is, my Ironfoot Warriors will not be able to kind of either flank around these 3rd Legion infantry or just go straight to the archers. We'll just have to see. Mercenary crossbows and trying to shoot down my 2 units of cavalry that are back there. Also, you can see that the Cell Swords have been committed over here against some Axe Guard of Erebor of mine and some Ironfoot Warriors, who you can see, like I said, the morale of Erebor is not great. These guys are actually shaken, even though they've still got 113 men in the unit. Then again, that also could be because of these Khazad-dûm Reclaimers, who I believe might be throwing their axes there, although they might be actually throwing them somewhere else. But you can see that my crossbows are also in... My axe throwers and crossbows are in range. They're going to be firing. I'm going to use both these crossbows to target these Cell Swords right here, because I do have a nice flanking shot into that area. And I believe my axe throwers are... I'm trying to target the pikes, because that's definitely going to be a good target, because you can see my halberds don't have the reach to actually go after these pikemen, and the miners are just struggling are just suffering the same fate, pretty much. But everywhere else I'm doing pretty reasonably well. Mercenary cavalry just running around, it looks like, after charging some of Lengo's own mercenary cavalry. See my hammer guard taking a lot of skirmish fire, and they are going down in numbers quite quickly, but you can see they are doing a good job against these mercenary cavalry who were not actually turned around in time to face them. Some dwarven miners of Lengo over here. I believe this might be the general's unit. Yes, you can see Balin right there, facing against my flanking Ironfoot warriors. And my other mercenary cavalry are going to come in and sweep away that last unit, or that last unit of standard mercenary cavalry. He's still got 2 units of the mercenary crossbowmen. But again, my pikemen are just my own pikemen, or my Ironfoot warriors, and my dwarven miners are just going to struggle very, very heavily here. You can see they're just getting slowly poked to death. They were able to do a very good job of cutting down the first wave of miners, but again, that's because the miners are low tier. And now is going to be where I'm going to have to make some interesting decisions. Unfortunately, I didn't notice right away that the Ironfoot warriors actually have shield wall. Otherwise, I would have pushed. Otherwise, I would have tried to push through these guys. But you'll see what happens later. In that respect, I'm gonna take my Sons of Durin out of that fight because I don't want them to get poked to death right here. Just gonna leave my Ironfoot warriors here to at least occupy the attention of these sentries of Khazad-dûm, and instead I'm going to commit my Sons of Durin over here, where you can see that my Axe Guard and Ironfoot warriors are struggling definitely against these Cell Swords, 2nd Legion Axe Guard, and some 3rd Legion infantry. So I am also going to be, you can see, bringing over my Ironfoot Axe Throwers to throw their axes into the flanks of these units. I've also got my crossbows over here. I'm not going to be targeting his archers too much, just because I would much rather use my crossbows to target his infantry, which is quite a lot better than my own. Yeah, my own halberds and miners just getting poked to death. Over here, though, on this flank, I am doing reasonably well. My halberds, when they are actually able to get in a fight against something that's not a pike, like these 3rd Legion infantry, are doing very well. Over here, my Axe Guard are actually just about through with these 3rd Legion infantry who are actually thinking about routing. I'm trying to use my mercenary cavalry to chase down the last of those mercenary crossbowmen there. I believe all of my Ironfoot hammer guard have been taken out by some mercenary crossbowmen, but it could be wrong. Also, I'm going to be using these crossbows to try to target the last of that cavalry. So my only cavalry I have left at this point, I believe, are these mercenary cavalry right here. My flanking Ironfoot warriors struggling quite heavily against these dwarven miners, mostly just because of the numbers of the miners, and because the miners actually are AP. So just proving that. Oh, there goes the general, though, of Khazad-dûm. They don't have as low of morale as Erebor does. They shouldn't be super affected by that unless I do start flanking really, really heavily here. I can actually see the Orc Hunters going to flank my Ironfoot warriors here, who are not going to like that at all, and may even rout. They are actually shaken as it is. My Axe Guard of Erebor were able to take out the 3rd Legion infantry, so I'm going to be able to keep moving on and either outflank these Orc Hunters or go over here and help my halberds against this other unit of 3rd Legion infantry. So again, it's been very close so far, 55 to 50%. I believe, like, yeah, I'm winning the percentage just by 6%. But you can see my Axe Throwers just standing here have done a great deal of damage to these Cell Swords. You can tell, mostly just because of how dang silvery their bodies are. This will be fixed, definitely, don't worry about it. But Sons of Durin also here down to 46 now, but they are doing very well against the 2nd Legion Axe Guard and Cell Swords. However, my other infantry that was here is not doing well at all. You can see most of my Axe Guard are very low. I've got like no Ironfoot warriors here anymore. And I actually was doing this on purpose. I did commit these Ironfoot crossbowmen here against these Khazad-dûm reclaimers. Even though my crossbows did have a lot of ammo left over, I'm just committing them here right now because I do not want these guys to be able to throw their axes into my infantry right here, because that would definitely turn the fight over here back in favor of Lengo. So I'm going to commit my crossbows here. It's not the general's unit, but my other unit is here now to try to stop these guys from throwing their axes. And my Ironfoot crossbows are not bad in melee at all. You can see they're going to struggle because the Khazad-dûm reclaimers are AP with two-handed axes instead of an axe and a shield. But still, they're going to be able to occupy these guys for long enough to either get my other unit of crossbows to start firing at them, or you can see they're actually just going to turn away and run instead. However, once they run away, that's just going to allow me to use these crossbows right here to actually just shoot these guys to death if as long as they stay in range. You can actually see that the Ironfoot crossbows do actually use their shield in melee now, which is very cool. I don't think that used to be the case in 0.91. Overall, though, over here I have kind of broken through this flank. Again, I'm kind of breaking through on either flank, But the fight in the center is still definitely going in favor of Lenka. I mean, you can see I've like barely made a dent in his pikemen at all. Over here, Axguard struggling against these Khazad-dûm Orc Hunters of Khazad-dûm. Lots of my cavalry getting cut down there. I believe all my Ironfoot warriors there have also been taken out. But also you can see that I have got some Ironfoot crossbowmen here, and so I'm going to be firing into these sentries of Khazad-dûm relatively soon. Let's take a look over here at my crossbows firing at these Khazad-dûm reclaimers, who are once again maybe going to be throwing their volleys, their axes into my troops. Gonna use these 12 Ironfoot warriors to try to stop them, at least for a short amount of time, long enough for my crossbows to fire, who are going to be able to do a great deal of damage at against these Khazad-dûm reclaimers. You can see the Khazad-dûm reclaimers are definitely going to target my Sons of DURIN. Very, very good target right there, because it is of course a very deadly shock infantry unit. I'm going to try to get these guys out of the way, but you can see that they're taking a lot of losses from that. Going to commit these Axguard Erebor over here because they're not quite as expensive as these Sons of DURIN. So I'm going to bring them over here to help out against the Khazad-dûm reclaimers, who are actually shaken from the crossbow fire and also now from being engaged in melee with the Ironfoot warriors. But you can see that they're just taking a lot of casualties from my crossbows right there. So it is starting to turn in my favor over there. But again, these pikes, man, are just like proving so difficult to just try and break down with what I have. Definitely a army comp mistake by me was not bringing any spears or pikes to fight against the sentries, because if I had brought Ironfoot spears, I may have been able to just push through these guys, and my own pikes would have done reasonably well against these sentries. We got my crossbowmen here. I believe they were firing maybe at some of the mercenary crossbowmen, but I believe at this point all of the cavalry had been taken out except for, yeah, those 13 crossbows there. Except over here, where I had been winning on this flank, you can see that I actually have started to lose quite heavily. My Axguard of Erebor now routing off the field, just proving that these Orc Hunters of Khazad-dûm are not bad at all in melee. They actually have 2 axes right here. Gonna try to flank around my halberds and Ironfoot warriors here. But this other unit of sentries of Khazad-dûm has taken a ton of losses, not only from my crossbows but also from my Ironfoot axe throwers. Sorry, my Ironfoot axe throwers have just been running around this whole battle, just throwing their axes at pretty much any unit I could target. Most particularly, I was trying to throw them at these sentries. See 27 of my Ironfoot warriors routing right there. Definitely not good at all for me. I think my halberds also broke. Yes, so definitely not looking very good for me. Where I had been winning on this flank, I am now heavily losing. Ooh. 3rd Legion Infantry just had a horrible time of it against my Axguard. At least I think that's what they were fighting there, but I could be wrong. But yeah, now these Orc Hunters are going to try to go into melee against my Ironfoot Axe. I can speak. Okay, these Orc Hunters are going to engage in melee against my axe throwers, but I was fine with this because that happened to be like one of my last volleys. And like I said before, these Ironfoot axe throwers are not bad in melee. There are still some crossbows back there firing, but there's so few of them left, it's not going to do a great deal of damage. This is my General's unit of crossbowmen who are now out of ammo. I'm going to use them to fight against these Orc Hunters as well as sentries of Khazad-dûm that are kind of flanking around. But over here in the again in the main fight, I haven't been able to do anything. My miners and halberds and infantry have just been slowly poked to death, and now they're going to begin to get outflanked and may end up actually routing. Over here you can see my Ironfoot warriors still at 75, but haven't been able to do anything against these sentries. However, now that I have been able to take out all the units over here on this flank, see my Sons of DURIN chasing the last of those Khazad-dûm reclaimers, I am free to use my crossbows to fire straight into the backs of these Khazad sentries, who are going to just drop like flies from that flanking fire right there. They're actually thinking about wavering, but here, man, I do not know how to really play Dwarves that much. I haven't played them a whole lot, so you're gonna see another big mistake by me pretty soon right here. It'll have to do with these Ironfoot warriors. But again, my crossbow is just doing absolute work here against those pikes, which is pretty much my only answer to them. The only answer to these pikes that I have were those axe throwers who are not out of ammo, and of course my 2 units of crossbows. But this is the only unit of crossbows that actually still has ammo at the moment. You can see that they're just absolutely shredding those sentries. I am starting to pull quite a bit ahead in the percentage-wise, but it is still very close. Axe throwers kind of struggling over here against these Orc Hunters, so I am going to commit my Ironfoot crossbows. And then after that, I'm going to... I don't want to attack these pikes head on. I just want to leave these guys here just to at least occupy the attention of these pikes so they can't like flank around. But there is where my mistake happened. I was trying... Finally, I realized that my Ironfoot warriors were able to go into shield wall, so I was going to try to push them through these pikes, but they just instantly broke. So definitely a big mistake by me there. Probably due to the fact that they were getting shot in the back by these mercenary crossbows. And because, like I said, the Dwarves airborne don't have great morale. But because of the constant fire of my crossbowmen, they were these sentries of Khazad-dûm have just been heavily reduced. I was finally able to do something about these pikemen, but you still can see that he's got one very healthy enough pikes. He's also got some archers firing at my own units, and he's got some few remaining Khazad-dûm reclaimers who are still... I was chasing them with these Axe Guard of Erebor and Sons of DURIN, but I decided instead to try to go after his archers. Over here, again, I'm just leaving my guys here to just occupy the pikes. I don't want them to flank around my remaining units. You can see that the 23 sentries are actually going to flank around my units here. So this is definitely not going to be good for their morale. Also, something that's not going to be good for their morale is these mercenary crossbowmen right here firing right into the flanks of my units, who are actually now beginning to waver. However, over here, the combined forces of my general's unit of crossbows and the remaining Ironfoot axe throwers are finally about done taking out these last sentries and orc hunters. So once these guys are taken out, I will be able to use them to flank around, because I don't want to attack these pikes from head on, so I'm going to try to go around them. Now my last unit of Ironfoot crossbowmen has run out of ammo, so I'm going to commit them in melee. I'm going to again try to attack these pikes from behind. However, you can see that, I mean, I've got like no troops here anymore. My poor miners and halberds, just I feel so bad for them. They're trying to get in the fight there, but they just don't have the reach. The sentries of Khazad-dûm really doing a very excellent job here. I wonder how many kills they actually have at the moment. I only have 7 Sons of DURIN now. They were taking some pretty nasty volleys from behind by those Khazad-dûm reclaimers. But again, even though they are really heavily reduced, they're going to do okay. I mean, I guess, against these orc hunters, but eventually they are going to just get surrounded and killed. I believe, yeah, I only have 4, and I don't see Gimli anywhere, so he must have fallen in battle somewhere. Actually, the orc hunter is going to retreat, and I've got my Axe Guard of Erebor there against the Khazad-dûm reclaimers, and I've got my Ironfoot crossbows now, my second unit of them. And I have finally cleaned up the forces over there. However, you can see my halberds are actually routing, as well as my miners, so it's going to turn out kind of interesting. My main infantry line right here has finally been defeated and has been broken, so I'm not going to be able to flank him as easily. You can see the pikes are actually reforming, going to turn around and face these crossbows, which will allow me to bring this second unit of crossbows as well as my axe throwers around behind to attack these units from behind. There are some orc hunters and a few other sentries to kind of slow them down, but it's not going to be enough, honestly. But again, I mean, it's been a super cool battle. I mean, I think a Dwarven Civil War would be very interesting to do, especially once the test patch really comes, especially once the patch fully comes out. I'm going to be once it comes, I'm gonna wait to continue the Dwarves versus Elves series until the patch does come out. You can see these sentries of Khazad-dûm being outflanked and outnumbered are finally starting to fall. But anyway, I definitely will continue the Dwarves versus Elves series. However, I think I'm going to just wait until the patch fully comes out, because that way we will have access to all the new maps and, of course, you know, like everything like this. I mean, I could, I guess, try to do it on the test patch, but I think I'd rather just wait. But yeah, I think maybe I could also do a Dwarven Civil War series. I think that'd be kind of fun to do, because I mean, this was a very fun battle. You can see the sentries of Khazad-dûm actually routing, and so that's going to pretty much be the end of the battle. He's just got some, yeah, just those same 13 mercenary crossbows, who are actually they're actually wavering just in the face of my troops. Yeah, so I've got 85 crossbows there, 124 there, and then I've just got a few, I think they're Ironfoot axe throwers somewhere around here. But yeah, there go the mercenary crossbowmen just routing instantly. They don't want to have to fight against my troops. There's the axe throwers. The reclaimers are also running away. I think I still have my 4. Pretty positive that I have my 4 Sons of DURIN somewhere around here. See, my general is still standing at the current moment, which is definitely good because the airborne morale is somewhat low, so you have to be definitely very careful of getting flanked around when playing as the Dwarves of Airborne. So we'll just go, yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, definitely a cool battle. Big thank you to Lingo for playing it with me. If you take a look at the kills, I did have actually fewer men than him. I thought I actually had more. I had 2,200 kills, and Lengo had 1,700. We'll take a quick look at the exact kills. Yeah, my crossbow is easily doing the best, getting 269, 261. But again, that was mostly just because I was able to outflank Lengo's troops and just shoot them in the back with my crossbows. One of the halberds not doing bad, but the other two, those were the ones that had to, I just had to pretty much throw against the pikes, so they definitely didn't get very many kills. Mercenary cavalry not doing bad at all. Axe Guard of Airborne doing very well. Ironfoot warriors some doing good, but others just doing okay. And my Ironfoot axe throwers, man, they were just running the whole battle, just chucking their, just wanging their axes into the heavily armored Khazad-dûm units and getting a ton of kills, getting 330 kills right there. Dwarven miners not doing bad. Sons of DURIN getting 152, and Ironfoot and Hammer Guard only getting 84 kills, but again, I was happy with that because my Hammer Guard was able to take out all of Lengo's mercenary cavalry pretty much right away, including the crossbows, but they were taken out pretty early, so again, not the best cav micro by me, definitely. But again, so I guess that pretty much does it for this video. So if you guys did enjoy, please comment, like, and subscribe if you did not. Just tell me what I did wrong, and I'll be sure to fix it for the next video. So farewell wherever you fare, till your eyes receive you at your journey's end.